We are here today because the St. Paul Police Department is important to each of us in so many different ways. It does not matter if you're a new employee or if you have been in the department for decades. You are welcome to our department's 2018 Officer, Detective, Civilian Employee of the Year ceremony. I am Commander Berrigan, and I volunteered to be here as your MC. Allow me to start with a personal thank you to each of you. You contribute every day and in every interaction to the legacy and standing reputation of the police department. Your unselfish drive to serve this community is what makes the St. Paul Police Department one of the best in the nation. Today, we support our coworkers, our brothers and sisters, sworn and unsworn, that are part of the law enforcement community. We are here to recognize and honor their excellent work from 2018. I also want to express my gratitude to the family, friends, and community members that have joined us today in this ceremony. Thank you all for being here. Joining us at the head table, we have Chief Todd Astle, Federation President Paul Kuntz, Police Chaplain Father Richard Andrews, and Mayor Melvin Carter will be joining us shortly. It is my honor to welcome Police Chaplain Father Richard Andrews, who will be leading us in the invocation. Father Rick served as a priest of the St. George Greek Orthodox Church in St. Paul since 1999, and previously served parishes in Chicago and Milwaukee. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Business and Marketing from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota, and a Master of Divinity degree from the Holy Cross Seminar in Boston, Massachusetts. He recently received his doctorate degree in Marriage and Family Therapy. Father Rick is married and has a son who lives in California. He has been a St. Paul Police Chaplain since 2005. Welcome, Father Andrews.
Thank you, Commander. Before we start with a prayer, I'd just like to acknowledge one person who's not here today, and that is Cynthia McIntosh, who was typically here as a member of a volunteer unit of the chaplains, and as many of you know, Cindy passed away recently. So when we pray today, please keep her and her family in your prayers. If you're able, could we please stand for prayer? Let us pray. Heavenly God, throughout history you have set before us people who are models of behavior, various prophets, saints, teachers, and martyrs who offered you the best that they could. The gifts of Abel, the sacrifices of Noah, the burnt offerings of Abraham, the priestly offices of Moses and Aaron, the peace offerings of Samuel. We ask you to bless all of the officers of our venerable city, which bears the name of your greatest apostle, St. Paul. Bless them as they offer their best to protect us, to serve us, to keep us safe and secure. Bless especially those officers whom we will be recognizing today. Help us to follow their conduct as models of commitment, excellence, and sacrifice. Bless them as they become models to us, to lead us and inspire us by their words and their actions. And finally, we ask you to bless the food and drink of these your servants, the hands that prepared of it, those of us who partake of it, and multiply it throughout the world for those who are less fortunate than ourselves. For you are holy, always now and forever, into the ages of ages. Amen.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here. I definitely want to acknowledge some of my teammates and partners who are in the room, from Deputy Mayor Jamie Tinscher, who's in the room with us, Council President Amy Brimon, who's here in the room with us. I see Councilmember Basuri, Councilmember Rebecca Naker, and Councilmember Jane Prince in the room with us as well. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank certainly Bruce Corey, our PED Director, for being here as well. And I don't know that if I see any of our other department directors in the room, let me know. Oh, absolutely. And our Chief Financial Officer for the city, who's just fresh back off of running the Boston Marathon, John McCarthy. He texted me after the Boston Marathon to say his time was only 3 minutes and 11 seconds, to which I responded, "You lazy bum." Congratulations. It's great to see all you guys here, and I also see our City Attorney Lindsay Olson in the room. Thank you for being here as well. I just want to say thank you for your work. I wanted to come by and just say I appreciate it. I sort of chuckled as my bio was being read, son of one of St. Paul's first African-American police officers, because I know many of you know my father, former St. Paul Police Sergeant Melvin Carter. And I think back to just growing up inside, literally inside the culture of this department. I think back to fight nights and Super Bowls and hanging out with folks, on the weekends. I definitely think back, Chief Axtell and I were at the table talking about the 27 years of police chiefs who are in this room right now. From Chief Smith, it's good to see you, sir. Chief Harrington, it's great to see you over there. Chief Finney, it's good to see you here as well. And certainly our current Chief Axtell. And I remember those kind of moments, I remember the moments, being at home with my sisters after school and seeing a news flash that something terrible has happened in the city, and praying for my father and praying for all of you. I remember growing up praying for the safety of our St. Paul police officers, and that's an experience that never leaves you. We're in the process right now working hard to build what we call a city that really works for all of us. And as we unpack that, what that means for us is saying, we've done this through a wide set of community engagement events, and that means for us saying, how do we make sure that in St. Paul, every single one of us has the opportunity to feel safe, welcome, and included in our local economy? You, of course, I know you know this, you play an invaluable role. You play a critical role in ensuring that that's the case. The relationships that you build, the work that you do, the way you put yourselves on the line is absolutely critical. We know that across the country and certainly across our city, eyes are on us. Eyes are on every single one of you, particularly every time you put on that badge and every time that you put on that uniform. We believe that trust that you work hard every day to build is one of our most important assets as a department. And I can tell you that you have my support and you have Chief Axtell's support. I know I speak on behalf of our city council as well to say you have all of our support in doing every single thing that we can do to preserve and strengthen that trust in every moment, so that when you go out in our community, you can gain benefit and you can build and you can use that trust to move forward. We need to support you, and that's one of the things that we're really focused on. I know you know that we made some investments, some important investments, I think, in this department this year, in this year's budget. And I'm really excited about what we call our Community First Public Safety Framework, which says our public safety strategy has to be on a whole lot more shoulders than just yours. Our public safety that's the Community First Public Safety Framework really sits on three core research established premises. The first is that in communities that we've invested in, that the physical environment, the physical character, and the physical investments that we make in our communities can reduce the likelihood of crime happening in our neighborhoods. That's research-based. The second is that people who can afford to pay the rent, who can afford to put food on the table, are much less likely to become a victim or a perpetrator of crime. And the third is you. It's that people who trust their law enforcement officers, that know that they'll be treated fairly by our law enforcement systems, are more likely to obey the law. They're more likely to call 911 in an emergency, and they're more likely to cooperate with an investigation so we can close investigations and move forward. That's the work that we're focused on. That's the work that you do all day, every day. That's the work that brings me here today, and I know all of your elected leaders in City Hall here today to just say thank you. We really appreciate your service, and we look forward to continuing to be teammates with all of you as we work together to build a city that works for all of us. Thank you.
Have to lower it down. Thank you, Mayor Carter, for your heartfelt remarks. As a department, we have many friends, we have many partners, many people that support us. And here today with us, we have different people that are a support system. Before I mention them, I will ask you to please hold your applause to the end. And if each person that I mention, please stand up and just wave at us, and as I call your name. From the mayor's office, we have Deputy Mayor Jamie Tincher, Chris Ryder, who was a former St. Paul Police employee, City Council members, City Council President Amy Bronman, Rebecca Naker, Kasim Busuri, Jane Prince, Director of Financial Services, John McCarty, Director of Planning and Economic Development, Dr. Bruce Corey, from the City Attorney's Office, Daphne Van Buren, Lindsay Olson, from the Ramsey County Attorney's Office, Tom Hatch, Erica Schumacher, John Kelly, Rick Dustenhoff, Jill Gerber, from the Department of Public Safety, Commissioner John Harrington and his staff, from the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Bob Fletcher and his staff, from the St. Paul Police Foundation, Todd Van Burton, Rick Vasquez, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Matt Parker, from Washington County, Deputy Michael Ramos. Now we recognize the St. Paul Police retirees. Please stand. Chief Tom Smith, Chief John Harrington, Chief William Finney, Scott Duff, Thomas Danaski, Andy Gold, Tim McCarty, Bill McDonald, Brock Ness, Julia Rust, Lila Rust, Ed Steinberg, Rick Estreich, Jill McCart, John Sherwood, Guy Stanton, Bonnie Wakefield, Tim Lino. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Before I introduce Chief Axtell, I want to take a moment to recognize our officers who are currently in military leave. Sergeant Jim Anderson, Officer Jonathan Finnegan, Officer Eric Faraday, Officer Phil John, and Officer Brian Townsend. I also want to recognize all current and former members of the armed forces present today. Please stand to be recognized if you have served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guards. Please, officers, stand if you have served in any. Thank you very much for your service. It is my honor to introduce Police Chief of the City of St. Paul, Chief Todd Axtell. Chief Axtell has served the citizens of St. Paul since 1989. He has risen through the ranks within the St. Paul Police Department and has served in patrol, investigative, and administrative assignments. In June 2016, he was appointed as the 41st Chief of St. Paul in the City of St. Paul. So welcome, Chief.
Thank you all very much for being here. You know, it's good to be short today because the page is closer to my eyes, my old eyes. So thank you all. It's an honor to see so many people here carry on the traditions that I had the opportunity to watch from the perspective that you're sitting in today. And I can tell you, sitting on this side of the podium, it's really a difficult task and a humbling honor to be able to have the opportunity to select the best of the best within the St. Paul Police Department. So many of our staff, sworn and civilian, go out each and every day and do an incredible job serving our city, serving our community, leading with our hearts. You know, I always talk about how we hire St. Paul police officers. And truly, we hire the heart and train the mind within our department. We hire the best of the best, those who possess compassion, respect, and value what our community needs each and every day. So, sworn and civilian members of the St. Paul Police Department, this is your day just as much as it is our winner's day. And I just want to join in a round of applause, thanking each and every one of you, whether you wear the badge in another agency or in the St. Paul Police Department. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And my boss, Mayor Carter, thank you very much for your leadership You've had a busy 2 years, the first 2 years as leading this great city. And I got to tell you, it's an honor to serve under your leadership. You have brought a lot of passion to the job, and we are really honored to serve under your leadership. We're looking forward to the next how many years you have to serve this city, and you really stepped up to the plate. I've got to tell a quick story. You know, as I try to recruit the best of the best officers in the city of St. Paul, it was a struggle when I first became chief because we were paying $7,000 less starting pay than the Minneapolis Police Department. So one of the first conversations I had with Mayor Carter at the time was that I can't attract the best police officers if we can't pay them what they deserve. And without skipping a beat, he just got it done and raised the starting pay by at least $6,000 for starting police officer. It makes all of us have a better job to do each and every day. So Mayor, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. So all of our nominees are exceptional public servants, and all of them could have been chosen. This speaks to the level and depth of the quality of the people on our department. This department, hands down, I believe, and I serve now on the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I have the opportunity to serve with many other chiefs, and I've got to tell you, and I don't doubt this for 1 second, we have the best department in the entire country, and I'm really proud of each and every one of you and our community members that support the women and men of our department. So I'm excited to introduce all of the nominees and present the awards, but first we have 9 achievement awards to announce. And here's how this is going to go. When I call your name, if you can stand up and please hold your applause in the interest of time, and then we will clap for you at the end. Top takers for 2018, PEO Rogelio Garcia Trejo. Please stand. Traffic and Accident Officer Steve Parsons, 2,488 citations. He wasn't able to be with us today. Rogelio, are you here? Oh, good to see you, Rogelio. Stay away from this guy. He wrote 8,631 tags in 2018. The Central District, Tawfiq Ibrahim. Are you here? Not here. Okay, 403 citations. East District, Officer Adrian Saffold, 842. Western District, Officer Santiago Rodriguez, 1,071. Citywide Services, Sergeant Paul Cottingham, 558. He was not able to be with us today. Top DUI arrests for the department 2018, Officer Alexander Graham, 70 arrests. Top Gun for the St. Paul Police Department, Commander Brad Hazlett. Top Gun SWAT Standards 2018, Officer Lance Christensen, who was not able to attend today. Let's give our Achievement Award recipients a round of applause. So moving along to the Employee of the Year categories. This year's Civilian of the Year honorable mention is being presented to Carol Gronford for her outstanding performance and the department's grant specialist. Since she joined us in 2016, she has been responsible for leading the department in receiving almost $6 million in grant funding. Many units and the programs have benefited from this funding, including community engagement, mental health, family violence, auto theft, human trafficking. Managing grants is a difficult and painstaking task that she really does an incredible job each and every day, and I have learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from you as well, Carol. Thank you for that. She's always available to assist, to answer questions, to provide guidance, and to ensure that we're following the very detailed rules of grant management. Carol is a team player who wants the department to be successful with receiving and maintaining funds, and she will go the extra mile to make sure that the grants are submitted properly. We appreciate Carol's contributions in helping us develop our first Law Enforcement Career Path Academy. Our first session of LECPA students, in fact, will have an opportunity to serve in our 2019 Police Academy. This is a vision that we started back in 2016, and this is the year. It's taken us 3 years, but we knew it would take that long, but our first batch will be in. We're very proud of that program. Carol is a helpful and patient mentor to those who have little or no experience with grants. Her expertise and insight are invaluable to our entire department. Carol is a respected member of the civilian staff, and her work is deeply, deeply appreciated by all of us. And now, Carol Gronford will receive the Honorable Mention Civilian of the Year 2018. Let's give her a round of applause. Now for top honors, Civilian of the Year. This is really a special day for me, as I get to watch Angie Steenberg and her career over the years. Just a quick story, and I know I've had a couple quick stories, I apologize. I came on the job in 1989, and one of the first faces I see in the police academy was Angie Steenberg, who was the office assistant in the training unit, and Bill Finney, who was the captain of the training unit at the time. And I just remember watching at the time how professional you were. And now, here we are, 30 years later, having this moment. Who would have known? So Officer Manager Angie Steenberg started her career in the records unit in 1987 as a clerk typist 1. She is the daughter of Deputy Chief Ed Steenberg, who retired from our department in 1999. The 2018 Civilian of the Year Award will be presented to Angie in recognition for her exemplary work ethic, dedication, and service to the entire city and the St. Paul Police Department. Angie has provided administrative support to 4 chiefs: Bill Finney, Tom Smith, Kathy Warren, and she has the primary responsibility, well, myself as well, obviously, but her primary responsibility is keeping the office of the chief on task, which is a huge undertaking, with appointments, meetings, and travel that comes with the position. And as the chief's liaison, Angie has developed and maintained close working relationships with all of our law enforcement community partners, the City of St. Paul, Ramsey County officials, and countless nonprofit and business leaders and community members as well. Angie often provides responses on my behalf to concerned citizens and business leaders when my schedule doesn't allow me to do that right at a moment's notice. And she's adept at diplomacy. Angie communicates with meaningful words. And she always has the proper tone, which is so rare in today. And depending on the situation, she just does it incredibly well. This is truly an art that very few have, and one that I rely on every day. Angie currently serves on the 2020 history book that we're going to produce for the year 2020, capturing the history that Chief Finney, the last book was the year 2000. We're looking forward to updating that book. And she has the institutional knowledge that's very highly valued in our department. She created instructions for writing memos and discipline letter procedures to help new supervisors. Angie recently started coordinating tours for the civilian employees to check out different areas of the department that they wouldn't have the ability to do. Gives them the unique experience and visiting locations such as the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, the Richard Rowan Training Facility, and the Ramsey County Emergency Communications Center. Angie has crossed paths with many in our department who appreciate and respect her professionalism, her lighthearted demeanor, and Angie is an honored member of our organization, serving over 3 decades, and a source of great pride for the St. Paul Police Department. Angie, please come on up and receive your well-earned award for 2018 Civilian of the Year.
All right, photo op. Right, stay right where Angie is. So then I'm going to fire right. Oh, wait. Fire extinguisher.
Right where Angie is.
There we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Been waiting 32 years for this. Are you ready? I would like to tell you that I'm speechless, but I got this. So we got 3 pages, double spaced, so don't worry. We're not going to be here all day. First, thank you very much for this honor, being Civilian of the Year. I am very humbled, as evidenced by my shaking. I'm thrilled to be here, and I also want to acknowledge the other folks who are being acknowledged here today. Carol, the $6 million woman, who was raised all this money with grants, for our grants and such. That's awesome, $6 million. Amy Boyer, from a baby-faced parking enforcement officer to a badass homicide investigator. Yes, I said that word. Mike Danaski, you are responsible for reducing shots fired calls in the city. And you're the son of Thomas Francis Danaski, so you've got to be awesome, right? Yes. Alex Graham, 3 life-saving awards. I'm glad they placed you by my parents over here, so in case anything happens today, right over here, if you could just kind of keep an eye on them, that would be great. Thank you. Adrian, congratulations, a steady street cop, old school street cop for 28 years. You've been policing the St. Paul way before they coined the phrase. Congratulations to all of you, well deserved, and I'm proud to be among you, so thank you. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I have a village too. I'm gonna start with some of my former bosses. Mary Margaret Zupfer is no longer here, but she was a beautiful lady, and all of us old timers remember her. Yes, we're nodding. Lovely lady. Tina Baraboo, one of my first bosses. She may be a stately grandmother now, but she was the most fun boss ever. So thank you, Tina, for everything. Okay, so you'll be reading about the juicy details about the following bosses in the book to be published upon my retirement. Chief Bill Finney, hello. Sheriff Bob Fletcher, hello. Chief Tom Smith, hello, over there. And Chief Kathy Warren, who could not be here today. And number 4, Chief Todd Axtell. That's a quorum, right? A quorum. I thank you all for everything you've done for me over the years. Can't say too much now because I'll probably start to get weepy, and then it'll be awkward and uncomfortable for us, and the vibe will be ruined. So I give a big tip of the hat and a very large thank you to the bosses who have shared life's journey with me. Every one of you is dear and special to me, and I think you know that. I hope you do. Thank you. You can clap. Okay. Woo, I'm warming up. I don't give speeches, so this is, they told me to be myself, so here I am. I would not be here without the support and friendship of the Dream Team. We are a group of admin types who have been together since our days in records in the late 1980s. Yes, that was last century, people. Lori Wollstonecroft, Christine Ryder, Julia Rust, and Brenna Atz are all part of the Dream Team. There sometimes can be tough days in the office where I work. Some of us started a little informal group. We call ourselves the Office of the Chief Survivors Club, and some of the core members are here today. Rich and Sue Astrike, Julie and Lyle Rust, Jill McCrae. Angela Anderson, a true and wonderful friend. I couldn't do my job without her. She's very dear to me, and she promises she will not retire until I retire. Right? Yeah. Yes, thank you. Please, God. Lastly, I would like to introduce my family who is here. I'm here today with my mother-in-law, Susie. My sister-in-law could not make it, unfortunately. My adopted sister, daughter, Molly, who's taking photos. There she is. I'm raising her up. My sister, Leah. My mom, Carol. My loving husband, Brian. And I left the best for last. I would like to dedicate my award to my father, Ed Steenberg, sometimes called Steady Eddie, who served the department with his heart and soul from 1964 to 1999. He taught me how to properly load a dishwasher. He taught me an enduring passion for yellow highlighters. but most importantly, he taught me the golden rule to teach everyone with kindness and respect, and this has been my constant goal as a public servant for the City of St. Paul and the St. Paul Police Department. Thank you all for coming today. It's been a joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. It's wonderful. So 2018 Detective of the Year, honorable mention runner-up this year is Sergeant Amy Boyer, who joined as a parking enforcement officer back in 1995. And I remember you back then. I mean, you look, I thought, who let this young lady out of high school to come and write tickets? She's worked in East, family violence, and currently assigned to the homicide robbery unit. The Honorable Mention Award for the Detective of the Year will be Amy for her outstanding work in investigating a homicide that occurred on the east side of St. Paul. And as we highlight this one of many cases that you and the entire St. Paul Police Homicide Unit continued to investigate exceptionally well, again, the best of the best in the entire country. Today we're highlighting the one of your cases, but I know there's so many more, and to all of our homicide unit detectives that are in here today, and robbery unit detectives and all our detectives, you just do an incredible job, and I'm really proud of each and every one of you for doing that. So the honorable mention is Amy, and for her work in the outstanding investigation of a homicide that occurred on the east side of St. Paul. In January of 2017, an elderly woman, Susie, was found brutally beaten to death in her home. There were very few leads. Matter of fact, we didn't know at the time that this was going to be a solvable case. And while Amy and a team of investigators canvassed the neighborhoods looking for clues, any clue, neighbors mentioned that Susie had some help in the previous summer at her house, some people helping with the yard work. At the time, an investigator doesn't know if this is something or not, but you follow up every lead. And a fingerprint was found in the victim's bedroom, and soon a potential suspect was found. This person, who had been hired to help Susie with her yard work, had committed crimes throughout the United States. Amy built a rapport, as she always does, with the suspect. And after several interviews, he provided her with two other suspects' names. They were not located in Minnesota, so other agencies throughout the country had to help and were involved in the search. Once found, the charges were filed against all three men. Amy continued to write search warrants, review phone records and social media posts. Amy spent several months conducting witness interviews, and she spent countless days. I mean, after every homicide that we have, our investigators are up for days on end to come up with any potential leads at the time. Two suspects pled guilty without a trial due to her great work, and the third decided to go to trial to give her a run for money to see if she can actually convict. And I'm proud to say that he was convicted for first-degree murder, which was an incredible day for the city of St. Paul, and to really support the honor of Susie, who was tragically beaten in her home. Amy worked countless hours investigating the case in the beginning, and she didn't have much to go on, obviously. However, through her leadership, your determination, and your extraordinary work, Amy brought justice to Susie and her family, and our community equally as important. Her investigative diligence was admired and respected by all, including me as the Chief of Police. Sergeant Amy Boyer will now receive the Honorable Mention Award for the Detective of the Year 2018. Thank you, Amy. Now, Detective of the Year 2018, Sergeant Mike Danaski. He was hired as a St. Paul police officer in 2001. He's worked in East, Force, and West. and he is currently assigned to the Gang and Gun Unit at the St. Paul Police Department. Mike is the son of Sergeant Tom Danaski, who retired from our department in 2008. This is a living legend in the St. Paul Police Department. Solved more cases than I could ever be assigned. Some big cases, including the execution of Officer James Sackett. And I remember how that felt when that case came to a conclusion after decades of your work. And so, Tom, I want to give you a quick round of applause for solving that murder. So, the 2018 Detective of the Year, Mike, thank you very much for your outstanding investigative and engagement skills in patrol and in gangs. And key on investigative and engagement all together. That's a unique combination at times that's missing from police work, how to treat people with dignity and respect and to be a tenacious investigator. While assigned to the Western District, Mike built relationships with our community. You acquired vast knowledge in high crime areas and identified repeat offenders. In June of 2018, you were transferred to West in Gangs, and you carried the knowledge with you with positive impact on our citywide and top priority of reducing gun violence in the city of St. Paul. Although it's a team effort, Mike played a pivotal role in reducing shots fired call in 2018 with a 25% drop, which is an incredible accomplishment. I know it took a team, but you were the spear of that effort. Mike's interactions with the community, his tenacious work ethic, and his focus on the well-being of our residents and our community really led to that success. Your work involved all facets of law enforcement. You freely share your wealth of information. You're a natural leader, and you work enthusiastically with all of our officers and our partnering agencies to make sure that we exceed and excel. Mike is committed to the department and is always available for other units who may need your help. Today, we honor Mike's professionalism, your initiative, and determination to make St. Paul a safer and better community for all of us. Sergeant Mike Danaski, please join me so I can award you the 2018 Detective of the Year. I'd like you to do the honors. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, Chief Axtell, Mayor Carter, appreciate it. Assistant Chief Thomaser, Deputy Chiefs, Command Staff, thanks a lot. A lot of you guys wrote a lot of nice letters on my behalf, I appreciate that. Thanks to the Sheriff's Office for being here today, Sheriff Fletcher, Chief Finney for hiring me. Retired cops that can make it today, I appreciate that, taking the time of day to come to this event. A lot of retired cops in the room. My wife Lene, daughters Bailey and Amber, thanks for making it from school today. Actually, we actually got a big game tonight against Stillwater Ponies. I'm not sure, Mike Whistler's team, state champs. But I guess with the rain, we'll probably miss that today. But we had a revenge match against them coming up. My mom and dad, for their sport. My dad got this award 21 years ago. Means a lot to me. He keeps in touch with me, Pete and Rob. Reads my cases. Congrats to Amy Boyer, the other award winner, and all the other award winners. Amy had a great homicide case in 2018. She worked hard on with us, and happy to say last Thursday the afternoon gang guys got her third and final suspect. Great job, Amy, on working with that. Thanks, Commander Lambie, for getting me here today from the patrol unit and for the write-up. This means a lot to get put in a gun gang violence job, because I know what a priority is to the chief and the administration to work on guns and gangs and get people away from guns. So it means a lot to me, Chief, to put me in this spot. Commander Lambie and our Secretary Sam give us all the tools we need to get our job done. I appreciate her. I've always felt I've worked my best in my career here as being part of a partnership or as part of a team. This is mostly a group award for me. My current team, the gun and gang unit, both the day and afternoon side, a lot of outstanding officers, a lot of outstanding sergeants to work with. I can't thank Timmy and Eric enough for training me in. I think we all complement each other well. We do a variety of tasks. Funeral details, search warrants, operations plans, community events, could all be in the same day, as a matter of fact. We have a lot of great federal partners we work with along the way, city and county partners with probation, parole, charging people, the courts, et cetera. We also work closely on a day-to-day basis with SIU, homicide, and force. Some of my hugest role models in my career all work in those units, so I can't thank them enough for always supporting us in my unit to get us through the jobs and the tasks at hand. We're also supported as well a lot by the video management unit. Forensic services make us all look good on a daily basis, enhancing video and getting our stuff tested. DSI officers in all 3 districts, phenomenal job. Sergeant Stanway worked with me. All the problem bars and businesses and problem addresses. A lot of the cops, a lot of the bad guys use some of the bars and businesses for staging grounds. So we went after some of the bars, mostly in the Snelling Midway area. But a lot of those places allow things to happen and criminals to stage. So we try to break up their spots and put the businesses on notice that we're not going to tolerate a lot of that. Thanks to the Midnight Street bosses that worked with me in West, so I could do my Duno details and go out at night and play my old force unit days and try to combat and saturate certain areas for burglaries or theft models, whenever the issue may be. So thanks to them as well. My partners, 15 years, Joy Reginik, great tactical mind, great guy. Josh Reichert, 3-time Medal of Valor winner. Helgo, Sight guys, Force guys, SWAT guys, East Patrol, through and through. Lastly, thanks to the citizens who called on me to make their concerns my concerns and give me a chance to make their neighborhood a safer place. Thanks for coming.
Tell you, if you're ever thinking of committing a crime, make sure this guy isn't on your case, because you're done. So 2018 Officer of the Year honorable mention is Officer Alexander Graham, who was hired by our department in 2016, just 3 years ago. And 2018 honorable mention award is certainly being presented to Alexander Graham for recognition of your exemplary performance as an officer in the Western District. In fewer than 3 years on the job, he has clearly demonstrated his commitment to the citizens of St. Paul by going above and beyond his everyday duties. So every day when I come in the office, I get an update, the nightly summaries of the night before, what has occurred, who made arrests, challenges in the officers that were injured in the line of duty, and good performances. And bar none, by no other member of this department has received more notes from my desk than you, and that's not by mistake. That's because you're out there, you're treating people with dignity and respect, you're go-getting it, you're going out and stopping cars in areas that our community is asking for help, and I'm just so proud of the work that you've done in such a short period of time. You could be the chief someday if you keep that up, no doubt. So he's demonstrated all these wonderful things in addition to receiving 3 life-saving awards in 2018, and that has never been done as far as I know. He was recognized for his work with DUI enforcement by Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the Minnesota Office of Traffic Safety. For the past 2 years, Alex has made the most DUI arrests in the entire department, all at the same time of handling calls for service, saving people's lives, and responding to the needs of our community. He works with schools and organizations to mitigate problems they are experiencing, which ultimately helps us reduce crime. And he plays an active role in events such as Unite and Fight and Shop with Cops. In 2018, Alex developed a relationship with a family who lost their husband and father under tragic and difficult circumstances. This was a call that Alex had responded to. Alex knew their first holiday season would be difficult. and he nominated them to be adopted by a local fraternal a police officer organization. So the family, through his work, received some support through the holiday seasons, and certainly emotional support, much more than the gifts that they received. Your work is truly, truly appreciated by myself and the entire department in the city of St. Paul. Alex, come on up and receive your honorable mention 2018. And now for the grand finale. The Officer of the Year position, the boots on the ground. Patrol truly is the backbone of the St. Paul Police Department. And it is really a good day for me watching Adrian receive this award that he had earned. And Adrian joined our department as a police officer in 1991, nearly 3 decades ago. And again, just putting that in perspective. Some of us, we work our way up the ranks, maybe put 5 to 7 years on the street. I know a lot of long-term police officers are here. John Sherwood, John, where are you? John Sherwood, Officer of the Year, spent his entire career as a police officer serving the city. These are the positions that this administration in our department holds as the highest valued position in the department. The most important position in the St. Paul Police Department, hands down, is that of a police officer. The most important rank in the St. Paul Police Department is the rank of sergeant, because they're out there doing the work each and every day and serving our communities. So Adrian has worked in all 3 districts, including traffic enforcement. The award will be presented for his overall professionalism, integrity, leadership, productivity, and the engagement that he has demonstrated as a police officer in the Eastern District. Although it's not common for a veteran officer like Adrian to bid to work the highest crime area of the city on the busiest shift, he's chosen to do that. And it's another thing that really speaks volumes. He's involved, he makes a difference, and he's a role model to the younger officers. He's at the top tager for the Eastern District since 2012. Again, in addition to answering all of the calls for service, he has demonstrated his dedication to St. Paul and the department by making our community much more safe than it was before he started his shift. Adrian is admired by his supervisors, his commitment to serving our community members with trusted service, with respect. He remains positive and thoughtful and maintains an outlook that puts community and department first. Adrian shares that the vision with the other officers in the district and always models his behavior and models this in his interactions with the community. In 2018, Adrian responded to a chaotic homicide scene in the Eastern District. And as a police officer, he tried to protect the victim and the sanctity of the crime scene, which is very important. A distraught man, who was obviously impacted by this homicide, broke through the crime scene tape. Now, instead of showing frustration and anger and the warrior mentality to stop somebody from entering the crime scene, he showed us all the guardian mentality of what it means to be a police officer. He stepped up to the man and simply embraced him. That's pretty cool. Adrian's compassion during such a horrific time positively impacted the grief-stricken man and everybody at that scene. I remember that call. Adrian has an immeasurable influence on those around him. It is my pleasure and honor to award him the 2018 Officer of the Year for your steadfast commitment to doing things the St. Paul way. Adrian, come on up.
He does.
All right, this is the part that I've been dreading. Those of you that know me, I'm better out there, chipping in, saying funny things or words, and, the best way to shut me up is just put a microphone in front of me. But thank you, Chief Axtell, Mr. Mayor. I'm truly honored to accept this award. Most of you know that I'm not usually at a loss for words, but today I stand humbled and proud just listening to all the good things that have been said about me. I have been to many of these award ceremonies in the past. I have listened in admiration to the accomplishments of the officers being honored. I often thought of myself as a regular guy, just doing my job. When the chief called me and told me that he had chosen me to be Officer of the Year, I was shocked and speechless. This all started for me on May 12th, 1987. I was reading the classified pages of the newspaper when I came across a job offering for a police officer. I said to myself, that sounds fun. Took me back to when my father would always tell us, have fun at your job and you'll never work a day in your life. I know it sounds like an old cliche, but it's the truth. And the reason that I remember this day exactly because it also happened to be my birthday. So go figure. 2 weeks from today, I will start my 29th year as a St. Paul police officer. 20 of those years have been on the east side. And in my 5 years in traffic enforcement unit, I spent most of my time on the east side. So needless to say, I love the east side. I have worked in every other team, but nothing against those, but I love the east side. My coworkers have always asked me why I continue to work the afternoon shift and why I stay on the east side. It is, after all, the busiest district and the busiest tour in the city. My answer is simple. It is a team of officers I am fortunate enough to work with in a community I enjoy serving. I would like to thank Senior Commander Axel Henry for the nomination. I am overwhelmed by your kind words and acknowledgments. You attend roll call often, and he always takes the time to ask us, what can I do for you? That means a lot to us. I appreciate your leadership and your support. I would like to thank Commander Brian Gaden and Commander Dan Malgren for your support. You are both an integral part of the East Side Command staff. I would like to thank Sergeants Jeff Schwab, Ed O'Donnell, and Salim Omari for supporting my nomination. And also Sergeants Dave McCabe and Daryl Borger for their support throughout the year. Thank you guys for all you do for our team. I want to thank all of the East Side Tour 3 officers. They're a great bunch of young guys. It is because of you guys that I am able to leave my family each day and come to work knowing that together we can be successful, safe, and accomplish great things here in the community. I want to thank my kids at my table, Bethany, Nate, Marcus. Thank you for your understanding and patience as I have missed many volleyball games, baseball games, tennis matches, concerts, cross-country ski meets, and other school events. I missed a lot, but I appreciate your support for me. I want to thank my mother-in-law, Diane Schwer, for the many hours of child care she provided while I worked or was called into court. Thank you for supporting our family physically and emotionally. I want to thank my mother, Janie Saffold, for teaching me about the importance of family. She gave me the freedom to make my own decisions and to learn from my own mistakes without saying I told you so. I'll never forget when I was first hired as a police officer, I called her and told her the good news. Ma, I'm a cop. Without missing a beat, in her infinite wisdom, she says, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Only a mother could say. Ma, I'm happy to say after all these years, I still have all my toes. Last but not least, I want to thank my wife, Lisa. Truly the backbone of our family. Her support allowed me to work the afternoon shift. She didn't complain much. That she was the one that had to cook the dinners, help the kids with their homework, and drive them back and forth to their events. I could go to work knowing that my family was safe and well cared for. This profession has changed dramatically over the years. There has been a lot of negativity about law enforcement as a profession. Many people have asked why I continue to do the job. I continue to do this job because I believe we are making a difference. Every day, citizens approach me and tell me thank you, several times a day. That simple thank you is what keeps me going. In closing, I'd like to leave you with a little simple phrase that I share with the officers on my shift. Remember, you can't please everyone, but don't let that stop you from trying. Thank you.
So it was an honor to recognize all of our nominees this year and have this moment with you, friends, family, community members, elected officials, for being here today to show our support for the women and men of this great profession. You could see the emotion up here today, and that's a sign of strength, by the way, when you see the emotion. And it also shows that this isn't just a job. This is a calling that very few people will ever have the honor to follow and serve our community. If this was a job, you wouldn't have seen any emotion today. So the department is made up of exceptional women and men, of course, and I want to thank all of you for your service each and every day and putting up with me and some of my fancy ideas that I come up with from time to time. Some work, some don't, but I appreciate you staying with us and doing the great work that the community loves that you do each and every day. A lot of hard work goes into making this event very enjoyable for all of us, and I want to give a special thanks to Angela Anderson, Don Cager, and Sarah Bozeman for your special efforts. Will you please stand so we can acknowledge you? So just a reminder for our award recipients and their families, please stick around after the ceremony, as we want to take some pictures and congratulate you with your special honors today. And now I want to hand it over to Pamela Bergen. Pamela?
Thank you, Chief. Now I invite Federation President Paul Kuntz to come and share his thoughts.
I gotta follow that, thanks, Andy. Some of you have seen, we have some black bands on our badges. Those of you who don't know, Conservation Officer Eugene Wynn tragically lost his life in the line of duty within the last couple of days. So if I could, just get a moment of silence for Conservation Officer Wynn. Thank you. Before I start, when that book comes out, I don't know that I've ever seen Bill Finney and the sheriff blush at the same time. So you got something there. Thank you all for coming today to recognize the excellent work of these officers. I want to congratulate all the nominees, both sworn and civilian. Policing, it seems, has changed very rapidly within the last few years. Sometimes it feels like we're playing a never-ending game of catch-up. Despite these changes, there's still a lot that remains the same. We still put this uniform on every single day. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We still have to go out and protect those who are unable to protect themselves. I believe the work of those honored here today are examples of the pride, of service to others, of willingness to step up and say to those who are intent on harming the victims, not today, not on my watch. Adrian Saffold is the epitome of a community-oriented police officer. Makes connections with the community and partnering with the community and serving as a voice of reason within his peers. Alex Graham, you saved the lives of 3 people last year. What an amazing impact you have. You have changed their lives and the lives of their loved ones forever. Everyone should know the work of Mike Danaski. If you don't, shame on you. Due to his dogged determination and his nonstop drive, he's the one guy that I do not want coming after me. Amy Boyer, steady, quiet, consistent. Did we mention she's a pretty good investigator? Has anybody ever seen her not smiling? Yeah, she's smiling right now. The examples of the work performed by these officers, we all strive for. Their work is being recognized here amongst their peers, which is where it should be. And in the true form of a cop, they didn't do it for the recognition. They did it because it was the right thing to do. Today, these cops receive the respect and the gratitude of their fellow officers and the love of their family and friends. On behalf of the 600-plus police officers of the St. Paul Police Federation, thank you, congratulations, job well done.
We're almost there. Organizing an event like this is not an easy task. As the chief mentioned, we want to thank you, Human Resources personnel, but also we want to extend our gratitude to the DoubleTree by Hilton event staff for their professionalism and their service. Congratulations to all the award winners on a job well done. Thank you to the family, friends, co-workers, honored guests, and community that have come here to join us. All nominees, please stay, and the guests would invite you to stand to the right by the flags to take pictures. This concludes our ceremony. Have a good drive.